Andrew Tate, The Psychological Trap Designed to Keep You Poor, Weak, and Controlled Motivation. The scarcity mindset is one of the most powerful psychological traps that keep people poor, weak, and controlled. It is a deeply ingrained belief that there is never enough, not enough money, not enough opportunities, not enough success to go around. This mindset creates a mental prison where people operate from a place of fear, limitation, and survival rather than growth, abundance, and possibility. Those who fall victim to this way of thinking often make decisions that reinforce their own struggles, unknowingly keeping themselves stuck in a cycle of poverty, dependence, and lack of control over their lives. One of the primary reasons the scarcity mindset is so powerful is because it is ingrained from an early age. Society teaches people to believe that resources are limited and that success is a zero-sum game. If one person wins, another must lose. This belief is constantly reinforced through traditional education, the workplace, and even social norms. In schools, children are conditioned to believe that there is only one right answer, one correct way to succeed, and that stepping outside of these boundaries is dangerous. They are graded, ranked, and compared against others, making them fear failure instead of seeing it as a learning opportunity. Over time, this creates a subconscious fear of risk, taking and innovation, which are essential for financial and personal growth. The scarcity mindset also manifests in the way people view money and financial opportunities. Those who believe in scarcity tend to cling to what little they have, avoiding investments, business opportunities, or financial risks because they fear loss. Instead of looking for ways to create wealth, they focus on cutting back, saving small amounts, and playing defense rather than offense. While financial responsibility is important, an obsession with saving at the expense of earning and growing wealth keeps people trapped in the same financial struggles. Wealthy individuals, on the other hand, understand that money is a tool, something that can be used to generate more wealth rather than something that must always be protected out of fear. Another way the scarcity mindset controls people is through job security and career choices. Many individuals stay in jobs they dislike, earning just enough to survive because they believe that better opportunities are scarce. They fear that leaving their job or pursuing something greater will lead to failure, financial ruin, or social judgment. This fear is not entirely irrational. After all, society has designed the system this way. From childhood, people are taught to follow a predictable path, go to school, get a degree, find a stable job, and work until retirement. This structured approach discourages entrepreneurship, creativity, and financial independence, keeping people dependent on employers and external systems for their livelihood. The scarcity mindset is heavily reinforced by media and culture, which constantly push narratives of economic instability, limited resources, and intense competition. News outlets bombard people with stories of economic downturns, job losses, and financial crises, making them feel like they are always on the verge of losing everything. Meanwhile, social media creates the illusion that only a small percentage of people ever achieve financial freedom, leading many to believe that wealth and success are reserved for the lucky few. This leads to envy, discouragement, and a deep sense of powerlessness, preventing people from even attempting to break free from the system. One of the most damaging aspects of the scarcity mindset is that it creates self-fulfilling prophecies. When people believe there are not enough opportunities, they stop looking for them. When they believe they will always struggle financially, they make decisions that keep them in debt or low-income situations. When they believe success is only for others, they never take action toward their own dreams. This cycle repeats itself, reinforcing the original belief in scarcity and making it even harder to break free. The good news is that the scarcity mindset is not permanent. It can be rewired and replaced with an abundance mindset. The first step is to recognize how deeply conditioned these beliefs are and actively challenge them. Instead of thinking there's not enough, one must shift their mindset to opportunities are everywhere and wealth can be created. This change in perspective allows people to see possibilities rather than limitations and to take actions that move them toward financial independence and success. Breaking free from this mental trap requires developing a proactive approach to money success and life choices. This means focusing on value creation, skill building, and investing in oneself rather than simply working for a paycheck. It also means embracing risk, failure, and learning from mistakes, as these are essential parts of growth. Surrounding oneself with successful, growth-oriented individuals can also help rewire the brain to see possibilities rather than limitations. Ultimately, the scarcity mindset is a powerful tool used by those in control to keep people in a state of fear, compliance, and dependency. However, by actively changing how one thinks about money, success, and opportunity, it is possible to escape this psychological trap and build a life of financial freedom, confidence, and independence. The fear of failure and social rejection is one of the most deeply ingrained psychological traps that keep people poor, weak, and controlled. It is a mechanism designed to prevent individuals from taking risks, thinking independently, and pursuing personal success. This fear is not natural. It is conditioned from childhood through societal expectations, education systems, and cultural norms. People are taught to seek approval, avoid mistakes, and conform to what is considered acceptable, even if it means suppressing their own potential. As a result, they become trapped in a cycle of self-doubt, hesitation, and dependence on external validation, which prevents them from ever breaking free from mediocrity or financial struggle. From an early age, children are programmed to believe that failure is something to be ashamed of rather than a natural and necessary part of growth. Schools reinforce this belief by punishing mistakes instead of encouraging experimentation and learning. When students get bad grades, they are often made to feel incompetent, leading them to fear taking chances in the future. Over time, this fear extends beyond academics and into all aspects of life, including career choices, entrepreneurship, and personal development. Instead of seeing failure as feedback, people begin to associate it with shame and inadequacy, making them avoid any situation where they might not succeed immediately. This conditioning continues into adulthood, where societal norms dictate that success is measured by external validation, job titles, financial stability, and social approval. Those who attempt to step outside the traditional path often face criticism, doubt, and even ridicule from family, friends, and peers. Many people are discouraged from pursuing unconventional careers or entrepreneurial ventures because society deems them too risky or unrealistic. This pressure to conform forces individuals to settle for what is safe rather than what aligns with their passions and ambitions. The fear of being judged or rejected by others becomes a powerful force that keeps them trapped in jobs they hate, relationships that limit them, and lifestyles that do not fulfill them. The media and corporate systems further reinforce this fear by glorifying perfection and ridiculing failure. Social media creates the illusion that successful people achieve greatness effortlessly, without setbacks or struggles. This curated reality makes people feel inadequate as they compare their own struggles and failures to the highlight reels of others. As a result, many people never take the first step toward their goals because they believe they're not good enough, smart enough, or talented enough to succeed. The corporate world also thrives on this fear by promoting job security as the ultimate goal, discouraging risk-taking, and keeping employees dependent on their paychecks rather than encouraging them to build their own wealth. One of the most damaging effects of the fear of failure and social rejection is that it creates a self-imposed prison. People begin to censor their own ambitions, suppress their creativity, and hold themselves back from opportunities simply because they are afraid of what might go wrong. They avoid public speaking because they fear looking foolish. They refuse to start a business because they fear financial loss, and they shy away from leadership roles because they fear criticism. This mindset keeps them stuck in a cycle of playing small, never challenging themselves, never taking risks, and never achieving their full potential. Ironically, the most successful people in history have all faced failure and rejection multiple times. Entrepreneurs, inventors, and innovators did not achieve greatness by avoiding failure, but by embracing it as a necessary part of the journey. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before inventing the light bulb. Oprah Winfrey was fired from her first television job. J.K. Rowling faced numerous rejections before publishing Harry Potter. The difference between these individuals and those who remain stuck is that they refused to let the fear of failure define them. Instead, they saw each setback as an opportunity to learn, adapt, and improve. Breaking free from this psychological trap requires a shift in mindset. The first step is to reframe failure. Rather than seeing it as a reflection of one's worth, it should be viewed as a stepping stone toward growth. Every failure provides valuable lessons, insights, and experiences that contribute to long-term success. Those who are willing to fail repeatedly and learn from their mistakes ultimately become the strongest and most resilient individuals. Another critical step is to detach from the need for external validation. The fear of social rejection loses its power when one realizes that the opinions of others do not define their worth or potential. People who seek approval will always be controlled by those they seek it from. True freedom comes from developing self-confidence and internal validation, recognizing that one's goals and dreams are valid regardless of how others perceive them. Taking action despite fear is the most powerful way to break this cycle. Fear will never fully disappear, but it can be overcome through consistent action. The more one steps outside their comfort zone, the less intimidating failure and rejection become. Each challenge faced builds resilience, self-trust, and the ability to navigate difficulties with confidence. Ultimately, the fear of failure and social rejection is an illusion designed to keep people in a state of compliance and mediocrity. Those who allow this fear to control them will remain dependent on systems that do not serve them, while those who break free will unlock them as possibilities. The choice is simple: remain stuck in fear or embrace failure as a stepping stone to success. The consumerism and debt cycle is one of the most powerful psychological traps designed to keep people poor, weak, and controlled. It is a carefully engineered system that encourages people to spend beyond their means, remain financially dependent, and stay trapped in a cycle of working just to pay off their expenses. This system thrives on impulse, emotional spending, and a lack of financial education, ensuring that most people never break free from it. From an early age, individuals are conditioned to consume rather than create, borrow rather than invest, and rely on external financial systems rather than build wealth independently. At the heart of this trap is consumerism, a societal structure that convinces people that their value and happiness come from owning things. People are bombarded daily with advertisements, social media influencers, and marketing campaigns designed to trigger desires they never knew they had. Companies spend billions of dollars crafting persuasive strategies to manipulate emotions, making individuals believe that they need the latest phone, the newest car, or the trendiest clothing to be successful or respected. This conditioning makes people equate spending with status, leading them to chase after material possessions rather than focus on financial security or long-term wealth building. However, consumerism alone is not enough to trap people indefinitely. The second part of this cycle, debt, is what cements their dependence on the system. Banks, credit card companies, and financial institutions make borrowing money incredibly easy while downplaying the consequences of debt. People are encouraged to take out student loans, car loans, mortgages, and credit card debt without fully understanding the financial burden they are accepting. At first, these financial tools seem like they provide freedom, allowing people to access things they otherwise could not afford. However, they come with hidden costs, interest rates, fees, and long-term financial obligations that drain wealth rather than build it. The combination of consumerism and debt creates a powerful loop. People spend money they don't have to buy things they don't need, using credit to finance their lifestyles. This leads to a situation where most of their income is already committed to debt payments, leaving little room for savings, investments, or financial growth. As a result, they are forced to work continuously just to keep up with their obligations, effectively turning them into modern-day slaves to the system. The illusion of financial stability keeps them from realizing they are stuck in a never-ending treadmill of earning and spending. One of the most damaging aspects of this cycle is that it creates a false sense of security. Many people believe that as long as they can make their minimum payments, they are managing their finances well. However, this is a dangerous illusion, as minimum payments only extend the length of debt while accumulating massive interest charges. Credit card companies, in particular, rely on this strategy to keep people in permanent debt. If someone only pays the minimum on a credit card balance, they could end up paying 2 to 3 times the original amount owed by the time the debt is fully repaid. The system also ensures that debt is normalized and even celebrated. Taking out student loans to attend college is seen as a necessary investment, even though it often leads to decades of repayment with no guarantee of financial success. Buying a brand new car on an expensive loan is considered smart, even though the car loses value the moment it is driven off the lot. Using credit cards to fund vacations, luxury purchases, and status symbols is encouraged, despite the fact that financial dependence erodes personal freedom. For those who begin to struggle under the weight of debt, the system offers more debt as the only solution. Instead of teaching financial literacy, banks promote refinancing, balance transfers, and debt consolidation, temporary fixes that do nothing to address the root problem. Governments and corporations benefit from keeping people in debt because it ensures a compliant, overworked population that cannot afford to challenge the system. A person drowning in debt is far less likely to take career risks, start a business, or question authority because they fear financial instability and losing the ability to pay their bills. Breaking free from the consumerism and debt cycle requires a complete shift in mindset. The first step is awareness, understanding that the system is designed to exploit emotional spending and financial ignorance. Once individuals recognize that material possessions do not equate to happiness or success, they can begin to prioritize financial independence over status-driven consumption. The next step is avoiding unnecessary debt and learning how to use money as a tool for growth rather than a trap. This means building emergency savings, investing in assets rather than liabilities, and refusing to finance a lifestyle that is unsustainable. Those who escape this cycle understand that wealth is built through ownership, not spending. They focus on acquiring businesses, real estate, and investments rather than accumulating consumer goods. Ultimately, the consumerism and debt cycle is a manufactured trap that keeps people in financial chains, ensuring they work endlessly to sustain a system designed to exploit them. Those who refuse to participate in this cycle gain the most valuable asset of all: financial freedom, control over their lives, and the ability to make choices without being dictated by debt and consumption. The moment one stops chasing material illusions and starts prioritizing financial independence, they break free from the system's grip and begin building real, lasting wealth. Dependency on authority and systems is one of the most effective psychological traps designed to keep people poor, weak, and controlled. It is a deliberate structure that conditions individuals to rely on external institutions for security, direction, and survival rather than fostering independence, critical thinking, or self-sufficiency. This dependency is embedded in various aspects of society, including education, government programs, corporate structures, and even healthcare. People are led to believe that without these systems, they would be incapable of thriving on their own, making them more likely to comply with rules, avoid risk-taking, and surrender their personal power in exchange for the illusion of stability. One of the first ways this dependency is created is through the education system. From childhood, people are taught to follow instructions, obey authority, and conform to a pre-designed structure. Schools focus more on memorization and obedience than on creativity, problem solving, or financial literacy. Students are rarely encouraged to question the system itself, and instead, they are conditioned to believe that success comes from following the traditional path, earning good grades, going to college, and securing a stable job. This creates a reliance on formal education as the primary source of knowledge and opportunity, discouraging individuals from seeking alternative paths such as entrepreneurship, self-education, or skills-based careers. Over time, people internalize the idea that they must always seek approval from an institution or authority figure before making decisions about their future. Government programs also play a major role in fostering dependency. While social safety nets like welfare, unemployment benefits, and stimulus checks are positioned as helpful resources, they also create long-term reliance on state intervention. When people become accustomed to receiving financial assistance, they may begin to see the government as their primary provider rather than a temporary support system. This weakens their motivation to pursue self-sufficiency and financial independence. Additionally, those in power can use these systems to control behavior, as individuals who rely on government assistance are often more willing to comply with laws and regulations to avoid losing their benefits. This creates a population that is more complacent, obedient, and unwilling to challenge authority, as doing so could put their financial stability at risk. Corporate structures reinforce this dependency by promoting the idea that job security is the ultimate goal in life. People are trained to believe that finding a stable job with good benefits is the safest and most responsible path. However, what many fail to realize is that corporate employment is structured to keep workers dependent on their employers. Paychecks are delivered on a predictable schedule, healthcare benefits are tied to jobs, and promotions are determined by managers rather than individual merit. Employees who rely solely on their salaries to survive often feel trapped in jobs they dislike, fearing that quitting or pursuing entrepreneurship would lead to financial ruin. This fear of uncertainty keeps people locked into a cycle of dependency, discouraging them from taking control of their own financial destiny. Healthcare is another area where dependency on systems is strategically cultivated. In many countries, access to quality medical care is tied to employment or government assistance, forcing people to remain within the system rather than seeking alternatives. This dependency is exacerbated by the high cost of medical treatments, prescription drugs, and insurance plans, making it nearly impossible for the average person to access healthcare without relying on a third party. When people feel that their survival and well-being depend on institutions rather than their own choices, they become more submissive to policies, mandates, and restrictions that limit their freedom. Media and technology further reinforce this reliance on authority by shaping public perception and discouraging independent thought. Mainstream media outlets push narratives that promote compliance with societal norms, portraying those who challenge the system as reckless, uneducated, or conspiratorial. Social media algorithms prioritize content that reinforces popular opinions while suppressing dissenting voices, creating an illusion of consensus that discourages critical thinking. When people are constantly bombarded with messages that tell them to trust the government, corporations, and experts without question, they begin to doubt their own ability to make decisions for themselves. This erodes confidence in personal judgment, leading people to seek guidance from external authorities rather than trusting their own research, intuition, or lived experience. One of the most dangerous consequences of dependency on authority and systems is the loss of personal agency. When people believe that their success, survival, and well-being are entirely dependent on institutions, they are less likely to take risks, challenge injustice, or pursue their own goals. They accept the conditions imposed upon them even when those conditions are exploitative, unfair, or detrimental to their long-term happiness. Over time, this results in a weakened, passive society that lacks the motivation or courage to fight for real change. Those in power benefit from this compliance, as a dependent population is easier to control than one that is self-sufficient and resilient. Breaking free from this trap requires a shift in mindset and action. Individuals must recognize that true security comes from independence, not reliance on external systems. This means developing skills that provide financial autonomy, such as investing, entrepreneurship, and self-employment. It means prioritizing self-education over institutional education, questioning mainstream narratives, and seeking knowledge beyond what is officially presented. It also means building alternative support networks, strong communities, local businesses, and decentralized resources that provide mutual aid without requiring compliance with authoritarian structures. Those who break free from dependency on authority and systems experience a greater sense of freedom, confidence, and control over their lives. They are no longer afraid to take risks, challenge norms, or create their own opportunities. Instead of waiting for permission, assistance, or direction from an external source, they become leaders of their own destiny, proving that self-reliance is the ultimate key to escaping control. Distraction through entertainment and media is one of the most effective psychological traps designed to keep people poor, weak, and controlled. It operates by diverting attention away from meaningful pursuits and keeping individuals focused on trivial, short-term pleasures rather than long-term success. Governments, corporations, and media outlets work together to create an endless stream of distractions. Social media, video games, television shows, sports, celebrity gossip, and viral content that ensure people remain passive consumers rather than active participants in their own lives. One of the primary ways entertainment and media serve as a distraction is by consuming time that could otherwise be spent on personal growth, education, and financial independence. Many people spend hours each day scrolling through social media, binge watching shows, or engaging in online debates that have no real-world impact. This keeps them from pursuing productive activities such as building a business, developing a valuable skill, or improving their health. The more time spent consuming entertainment, the less time is available for self-improvement, making it easier for the system to keep people in a cycle of complacency and stagnation. Social media platforms are specifically designed to capture attention and create addiction. Algorithms analyze user behavior and deliver content that triggers emotional reactions, whether through outrage, humor, or validation. Each like, comment, and share releases dopamine, creating a cycle where people constantly check their feeds for new updates. Instead of focusing on their own goals, individuals become emotionally invested in online and trends, viral controversies, and meaningless debates. The result is a generation that is more engaged with digital distractions than with their own personal development, ensuring that they remain disconnected from the realities of power, finance, and self-mastery. Mainstream media plays a significant role in shaping public perception and controlling narratives. News outlets bombard audiences with stories designed to provoke fear, anger, or outrage, keeping people emotionally charged but intellectually paralyzed. Rather than questioning the system or seeking financial independence, the average person spends their time reacting to the latest political scandal, celebrity drama, or manufactured crisis. This constant stream of information overload ensures that individuals remain distracted, overwhelmed, and unable to focus on what actually impacts their lives in a meaningful way. Entertainment industries, including sports and Hollywood, are structured to keep people deeply invested in fictional realities while ignoring real-world issues. Sports fanatics argue endlessly about teams and statistics while their own financial situation remains unchanged. Movie franchises and TV series are designed to create lifelong fandoms, ensuring that audiences remain emotionally attached to imaginary worlds rather than improving their own. Video games provide a similar escape, offering artificial accomplishments and dopamine rewards that keep players hooked. Instead of pursuing real achievements, such as financial success, health, or personal growth, many people spend their time leveling up in virtual realities while remaining stagnant in their actual lives. One of the most dangerous aspects of this distraction is that it creates a passive, compliant society. When people are absorbed in entertainment and media, they are less likely to question authority, challenge injustice, or seek independence. Governments and corporations benefit from a distracted population because it prevents individuals from becoming too aware of how the system manipulates them. If people were as passionate about understanding economics, entrepreneurship, and wealth building as they are about the latest celebrity drama, there would be far fewer individuals struggling financially or relying on external systems for survival. The entertainment industry also promotes unrealistic lifestyles and unattainable standards, keeping people in a constant state of dissatisfaction. Social media influencers flaunt luxurious lifestyles that are often funded by sponsorships or debt, making the average person feel inadequate by comparison. TV shows and movies depict love, success, and happiness in ways that rarely reflect reality, leading people to chase illusions rather than build meaningful, sustainable lives. This manufactured dissatisfaction keeps people consuming, buying products, watching more content, and engaging with distractions rather than working toward financial or personal freedom. The trap of entertainment and media is particularly effective because it feels harmless and enjoyable, making it easy to justify excessive consumption. After all, watching TV, playing video games, or browsing social media seems like innocent fun. However, when these activities take up the majority of a person's free time, they become a form of mental slavery, keeping individuals entertained but unfulfilled. Meanwhile, those in power continue accumulating wealth, controlling resources, and shaping policies, while the distracted masses remain too busy with entertainment to realize how little control they actually have over their own lives. Escaping this trap requires a conscious effort to reclaim time and mental energy. It means limiting consumption of entertainment and focusing instead on creating, learning, and building. Rather than being a passive consumer, one must become an active participant in shaping their own future. This includes developing skills that provide financial independence, seeking knowledge that empowers rather than distracts, and being mindful of where attention is directed. Those who break free from the distraction trap quickly realize that true power lies in focus and discipline. Instead of wasting time on mindless entertainment, they invest in their future, build businesses, acquire assets, and develop mental resilience. While the majority remain entertained, distracted, and controlled, those who take back control of their time and attention position themselves for real success and independence. The self-doubt and learned helplessness effect is one of the most effective psychological traps designed to keep people poor, weak, and controlled. It operates by conditioning individuals to believe that they are incapable of improving their circumstances, making them dependent on external systems, authority figures, or luck to dictate their future. This deeply ingrained mindset prevents people from taking action, setting ambitious goals, or challenging the structures that keep them in a state of powerlessness. Over time, it fosters a passive, defeated attitude that ensures individuals remain stuck in cycles of mediocrity, financial struggle, and emotional dependence. This effect begins early in life through education, social conditioning, and repeated failures that are framed as personal shortcomings rather than systemic barriers. Many people are taught from childhood that they must seek permission, validation, and guidance from others in order to succeed. Schools emphasize obedience over critical thinking, discouraging independent decision-making and risk-taking. When students struggle, they are often labeled as not smart enough or not talented enough, rather than being encouraged to explore alternative methods of learning or problem solving. This can create a deep-seated belief that failure is a personal flaw rather than a temporary obstacle. As individuals grow older, self-doubt is reinforced by society's rigid definitions of success and intelligence. People are led to believe that only a select few are capable of achieving greatness, those with elite education, exceptional talent, or privileged backgrounds. If someone does not fit into these categories, they are subtly conditioned to believe that success is out of reach for them, leading to the acceptance of a lower standard of living. The media perpetuates this belief by constantly showcasing extraordinary success stories while downplaying the reality that persistence, resilience, and self-belief are often the key differentiators between those who succeed and those who remain stagnant. Learned helplessness takes root when individuals experience repeated failures or setbacks without any clear path to overcoming them. If someone tries to improve their financial situation, apply for better jobs, or start a business but faces rejection, they may begin to internalize the belief that they are simply not meant for success. This psychological state was first identified in experiments with animals, where subjects that were repeatedly exposed to negative stimuli with no escape eventually stopped trying to escape, even when a clear path was presented to them. Humans experience the same phenomenon in real life. When people are conditioned to believe that no matter what they do, nothing will change, they stop trying altogether. The financial system is structured in a way that exploits and reinforces learned helplessness. Many people grow up watching their parents struggle with debt, low wages, and economic uncertainty, leading them to believe that financial hardship is inevitable. Schools do not teach financial literacy, so individuals enter adulthood without the knowledge necessary to build wealth or escape financial traps. When they encounter financial difficulties, such as rising costs of living, high-interest debt, or low-paying jobs, they may feel powerless to change their situation. Instead of seeking alternative solutions like investing, entrepreneurship, or skill building, many resign themselves to working just enough to survive, believing that financial freedom is something only the privileged can achieve. Another way this trap is reinforced is through toxic self-perception and negative reinforcement from authority figures. If someone has been told repeatedly that they are not smart enough, strong enough, or disciplined enough to succeed, they may start believing it. Parents, teachers, employers, and even peers can unknowingly contribute to this cycle by discouraging ambition and risk-taking. When people internalize these negative beliefs, they hesitate to take action because they expect failure before they even begin. They do not apply for better jobs, pursue financial independence, or challenge the status quo because they genuinely believe they are incapable of achieving more. The modern workplace thrives on learned helplessness by keeping employees dependent on jobs they dislike, fearing that they have no better options. Many people stay in unfulfilling, low-paying jobs because they believe they are lucky just to be employed. They do not negotiate salaries, demand better conditions, or seek opportunities for growth because they fear rejection or failure. This benefits employers who can continue to exploit underpaid workers who feel powerless to change their situation. Breaking free from the self-doubt and learned helplessness trap requires rewiring the mind to reject limiting beliefs and embrace a mindset of self-empowerment. It begins with recognizing that failure is not a reflection of personal inadequacy, but rather an opportunity to learn and adjust strategies. Instead of interpreting setbacks as proof of incompetence, individuals must view them as stepping stones toward success. This shift in perspective allows people to take risks, experiment with new approaches, and persist despite obstacles. Another critical step is building self-confidence through small wins. When people take control of even minor aspects of their lives, such as setting financial goals, acquiring new skills, or overcoming a personal fear, they begin to prove to themselves that they are capable of improvement. These small victories compound over time, gradually replacing self-doubt with a sense of personal power. Surrounding oneself with people who encourage growth rather than reinforce limitations is also crucial. The company one keeps can either fuel ambition or solidify helplessness. So it is essential to seek out mentors, role models, and communities that promote self-empowerment. Self-doubt and learned helplessness are deliberately cultivated mindsets that serve the interests of those in power by keeping people passive, dependent, and unwilling to challenge the system. Those who break free from this psychological prison realize that success is not reserved for a select few. It is accessible to anyone willing to push past their conditioned limitations. By rejecting the belief that external forces control their fate, individuals can reclaim their power, take ownership of their financial and personal success, and break free from the cycle of poverty and dependence.